Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have him back because it's felt like a while. Rob Anson, CEO and founder of FOBI AI, trades in Canada under FOBI, FOBI, and for our friends in the US, FOBIF. For those new to the story, and most of you are going to be, the old timers, the OGs, but we know there are always new people. Here's what you need to know: the company is a global leader in providing real-time data analytics through artificial intelligence to help drive customer activation and engagement in the brick and mortar space. Sounds like a bit of a mouthful, but more than just lip service. The company's already announced this year a strategic alliance with NeilsonIQ to literally transform the retail sector. They entered one of the most significant partnerships in its history with NTT DATA, the world's fourth largest telecom company, approved for the Oracle Partner Network, and multiple pilot agreements with the like of Sobeys and Certas. We're going to talk about those. Major financing. What we're here to talk about today, FOBI corporate update, includes completion of several pilot tests now in advanced term negotiations, $10.4 million in funding, and uplist to major exchange. Rob, welcome back, man.
George, good to be back.
How have you been? Because it seems the last one we did was back on May 26th, which for you and I seems like an eternity and could be perceived as a bit of a quiet period, but you've been busier than ever, right?
I know I had a lot of shareholders ask me if we broke up.
Never.
No, all kidding aside. No, we've been extremely busy. It's more of just a fact of heads down. Obviously, we've gone through a major rebranding. As you alluded to, we've got numerous pilot agreements now that are working, and we're planning on scaled rollout. So we've had a huge hiring over the last 2 months here. So we're just working on all of our internal processes and getting things in place for tremendous, exciting end to the year here.
And besides the obvious, we're going to go talk about pilots and all other biz dev, uplisting, balance sheet, all that. But there are two things I like to look at, two indicators that people should be probably reading into. One is the torrid hiring spree. We know about the executives because those have been press released, but you guys have hired. And how big is the team now from the last time we spoke?
Well, we've added about a dozen positions on the technical side, some key account management positions as well, of course, channel partner managers. We've added to the team to support the TELUS's and SGBs and others that we're working with as channel reseller partners of ours. George, we spent, I spent the first 18 months commercializing, refining, tweaking the product. That was the key thing to me, is to build a pipeline that was supported by a product that could truly scale. We've already demonstrated the ability to scale globally, which we have. Now I've had the benefit here from putting together a world-class team. I mean, when you look at where Tamer came from and Jolie with NTT DATA, the two of them, Ian from Epson Japan head office, Richard Lee, of course, NeilsonIQ, says wonders, as I worked with him for 8 months on our negotiation with Nielsen. But for me now, it puts us in a position of comfort and execution. Obviously, as an early stage founder, you wear 15 different hats in the company.
Yep.
Now I've had the ability to step back, bring in the right people that I don't have to micromanage, that I have full trust and confidence in. And it's given me the ability to look at the broader picture here. I'm sure we'll get into some M&A discussion later on, but building the team to now execute on the vision and the product and the opportunities, as you've alluded to, with some of these large names. It's been a very, very pleasurable experience over the last 6-8 weeks here, as to watching this all unfold.
And I like that as an indicator, because you can think anything you want about a company, any company, not just FOBI, from the outside. But when it's on a torrid hiring spree, companies just don't go spending that much money adding on payroll because they feel like spending money. There's a reason. We should see that as an indicator, correct?
Well, most definitely. No, I got asked about it a lot. I mean, when you start to look at it too, is, I think we've had the highest frequency of news releases of any small cap company over the last year. But that being said, we don't really need more business at the moment. People don't understand the opportunities that we have in the pipeline are so large that for us now, if all we were to do for the next year was to execute on those and meet full scale, company will be in an unbelievable position. Of course, that being said, I'm always pushing the envelope. We've got tremendous amount of interest and queries as things are now reopening, as COVID's, looks like it's disappearing a bit. But no, for us, it's just execution. I mean, I said it's the end of last year. This is all going to be about turning the corner in our biggest year yet. It has been, in my opinion, already. And we're only halfway through the year. So the remainder of the year is exciting because now it's the realization of these revenue commercialized contracts that, of course, the shareholders been waiting for and my board's been waiting for. And I'm happy to report that these are going extremely well.
And the second indicator is money talks, BS walks. And you've invested over $750,000 of your own money. I think that's year to date, including $350,000 in the last private placement. That's another indicator that you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, for going back 5 months, whatever it was now, I look for value. I'm an investor as well. Obviously, I've got a great deal already, millions of dollars already put into this. But for me, no, I pick and choose spots as well. I mean, it's an absolute steal where we've been. Obviously, coming off our financing, I think we saw a little bit of overhang, of course, and the odd short position trying to take a swing at us. But coming out like news today on a Friday it's a risky business. And like I said, I'll just sit back and wait and pick them off one by one. We hit this at 35, we hit it at 75, we hit it at $1.35. And once we broke through the short, we went to 297 in literally, I think it was 6 weeks. I'm anticipating the same thing here. Very short future. I anticipate we'll break the short again and we'll recognize new highs.
All right, that's exciting to hear. So let's talk about some of the reasons of why that may happen, because this always happens with business fundamentals. Obviously, the things people want to hear about first are the pilots. There's a number of them, but maybe we'll focus on Sobeys, Certas, and TELUS. As specific as you can be, because we know you're handcuffed from being too specific. How well are they going? How happy are you with the levels of execution? More importantly, how happy are they with the levels of execution?
Oh, very well, because it's the same side. We started with one application, if you will, on many of these fronts, and obviously I'm not going to get into each and every one of them, but you check the box, and then it's, hey, what else can we do to add value here? How can you help us with our business objectives for the remainder of the year and more importantly next year? So we've actually built on the fly new product offerings based upon Sobeys and TELUS and others' requests or needs, if you will, which speaks a lot to Tamer and our tech team. We have an extremely powerful team now, and obviously led by someone as experienced as Tamer is extremely exciting and comforting as well. So when we start to look at each one, George, it's really been about not just the credibility of which we're having to get the boxes and go through the hoops, as you say, but it's really now truly becoming more about partnership. It's now is what's next after this, right? And that's the exciting part to me. We're now, as we're looking at, okay, where are we starting? What does the scale look like for the next quarter and beyond? And this is the need for us now, why we've made the hires, why we've ramped up, and why we did the financing. There's a boatload of hardware that's going to be purchased as a result of this. I wanted to ensure that I kept us in a strong position and not caught, looking in the mirror and wondering what happened per se.
It's a great indicator, Rob, also that in some of these pilots, and I know you weren't able to be specific in the press release, so we won't be specific here, that you've had partners come back and say, we like what we see here, can we do more?
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because it's not just when I say partnership, it's the way we're looking at it. Because when you look at a successful collaboration, it's just not the value of today, but more importantly, the transformative value that we bring, for the next 18, 24 months. I made a statement back when we did the Coupon Bureau integration announcement and partnership, and I said that would be our biggest means to revenue. And when you look at the model, and we'll be able to share some of this stuff once it's rolled out and some of these other aspects are public. But when you look at the numbers around the CPG activation side of our business, the SaaS is great. The SaaS will cover the nut and grow and gain us multiples and stuff. But when you start to look at the revenue associated to the CPG and the promotions and the offers and that feedback of the data exchange, that's where the numbers become absolutely crazy, even discounted. A couple of the groups that you've mentioned here, this is a whole new level of the partnership, which we're working on structuring and finalizing. And these things just don't happen overnight. If this was as simple as, hey, we're going to go plug in 10,000 FOBIs across the country, great. That's a matter of 1 week negotiation. And that we've got multiple levels of stuff here that's not even publicly disclosed yet. So, I've been spending the last 3 weeks pretty much with the legal counsel and hanging my hat in their office. But it's exciting to see where not only where we came from, but more importantly, where we're headed.
When you say a lot of these pilots are in legal review, I know what that means. You know what that means. Obviously, a lot of people do, but some people don't quite know what the significance of being at legal review means. Maybe you can kind of put some color on that so people understand the stage of where some of these are at.
Yeah, for sure. It's understanding the cost of the annual license, if you will. It's all broken down into numbers. I mean, if you look at Sobeys, there's over almost 18,000 lanes. That's a great deal. That doesn't happen overnight. It's great. Here's the commitment to the first scale of the rollout. Here's the cost of the rollout, the management. And as I've mentioned, there's other pieces of the business now that are being negotiated. What does that revenue share look like together? So there's a lot of moving parts. And like I said, it's kind of all going into the blender. Looking to pour that pretty drink here pretty quick.
And I'll ask the devil's advocate question, but because I think it's prudent, I need to ask: have you had any failures in any of these pilots?
No, the only challenge we've had was COVID. I mean, understandably, a lot of our deployments were in the UK, and they were much like Ontario. Seems like you guys were in shutdown for a great deal of time here, but no, that was our biggest challenge. Now that once the technology was in and everyone saw the results and benefits, that's when the smile, came on the face, and we began to discuss, more of, great, here's what we did for you here, but take a look at this, right? It's all about, for us, getting your foot in the door. The hardest thing in business, of course, is taking your idea, creating a commercialized application, and getting that first meeting and getting that first client. Our case is our challenge is not getting the client and getting the business. Now it's become the point of value of which we bring to the organization from a transformative solution aspect.
I can't wait to hear the specifics, because I got a feeling I can't ask you much more. But it sounds like the pilot's going great, and we're going to have some news in the near future, I guess, or in the not too distant future. Let's talk about other.
George, too. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
There's a lot of things. Like I said, when you start to recognize the value of our tech team and what Tamer has brought to our team, there's a lot of product integrations with other groups that we'll be announcing in very short order. For us, it's now about automation. I said before the last 3-6 months, real time, real time, real time. Now it's about automated onboarding and billing and all these processes. Much like we did with Ven, we're about to unleash that with multiple different large point of sale and loyalty companies.
All right, and that's actually where I was going next, which is let's talk about other biz dev.
Yeah.
How's the being as specific as you can be, and I know you can't be too specific, but how has the pipeline been filling during this, quiet period that you guys have, this quiet period you guys have been in?
Well, if you asked Mike Cannavaro, he would laugh if you said quiet period, because he literally is 24/7. With the Passcreator acquisition, the Passcreator and the FOBI AI capabilities transcends it to a whole new dynamic level. So there's a lot of projects in Europe that we've been working on that we'll be able to speak about very shortly. At home here, of course, with everything reopening, all of a sudden the US college and schools and stuff is a big part, because a lot of the states, there has to be the verification of student digital ID is one big request we're getting. But more importantly now, the vaccination certification is playing a big part of it, we're seeing as well. So it's there's no quiet period. That's not our challenge. The luxury that I have today is to be able to sit back, to be able to look at each opportunity that I'm presented with and look at, okay, great, here's GeorgeCom, here's the size of the opportunity, here's what the technical debt's going to be for us. Is this something that we're going to go after? I mean, I'm, have that luxury now from a technical team side to be able to say, yep, let's go after it in a sprint, which is 2 weeks for us. We're ready to go. But from a business standpoint, a revenue now standpoint, we can't do everything, of course. So I've been, the last 6 weeks here, really focused internally on where we're headed for the remainder of this year, but more importantly, setting up already for next year. And it's a path through automation and scale of our business development pipeline. And we'll be announcing some very exciting channel partners that takes us to a whole new level globally, not just here in North America.
Wow. Okay. Can't wait to hear about that. Nice little teaser drop there. Speaking of setting up for the future, there's two kinds of setups. One is the business side, and you've talked really in detail about that. The other is the capital market side. And the two things I kind of see, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm kind of putting together is the balance sheet strength, the recent raise, and and your update on the uplist, which you believe is going to take place in Q4. So is that a big reason? Is the uplist and the balance sheet, it's almost like they're working hand in hand. The uplist and the balance sheet are there to support the business, but at the same time, your belief in where the business is going is the reason why you need to keep planning for the uplist.
Yes, both hand in hand. Understand this too, that a lot of the opportunities that we're working on, either finalizing, in near term or perhaps in Q4, they're very significant. There's a great deal of due diligence, and balance sheet plays a big part of it, right? Understanding, great, here's what you guys have from a technical perspective and product and service offering, but are you gonna, is this gonna break the back of the company, right? So for me, that was the reason for the raise. It's to keep in line with where we're heading, keep us in a strong position, and make an uplisting process not a huge burden and stress. It's more of natural progression, if you will, which for us and our board, it's perfect timing. And I think, come Q4 is a perfect time, as we'll be well suited in position now.
And some investors were critical of the raise, but I think it's important to point out, and for you to point it out, you need that balance sheet muscle so that you don't scare off customers that you're working so hard to acquire, so hard to impress, only for them to say, man, we like it all, but you might fall apart on us, so we can't take a risk on you.
No, 100. That's 100%. I mean, look, I'm still the largest shareholder by a country mile. I mean, I'm pouring money into this left, right, and center, half from day one. So nobody likes dilution. Obviously, I don't either. But it's a necessity. It's the same side of it. Like right now, shorts made a big attempt to drive us below $1. You know, for us, where are you going? I mean, it's not like we need money, so you're not going to drive me into a bad financing. You know, so for me, it's always, George, about keeping ourselves in the strongest position possible at all times. Like I said, I'm not working on today. I'm 6 months down the road, and my focus is already on next year. You know, with our plans for scale and the opportunities that I'm looking at and working through right now with lawyers and our team internally, you have to have that foresight. You have to take the money to keep you in that position of strength. I mean, to come out, I think we're, in all honesty, not to critique other companies, but you see these other uplisting efforts, and all of a sudden they got to announce a $50 million raise to get there. And, you know, that's a big number, right? And for us, I'm happy to do it where we did it. Not really where we did it, of course, with a number perspective, but timing of when we did it, because it's really helped us, I can assure you that, in a lot of these conversations of securing big business.
Well, I know when we talk to clients, sometimes we talk to things that we're often asked, how big of a staff you have? Well, how are your resources? Can you handle us? It really is something important, because clients don't want to make an investment in you at the end of the day, only for you not to be able to support it. And then they're scrambling, just trying to save the whole damn thing.
Well, that's just it. You know, and that's, to be straight up honest with you, a lot of the reasons for some of the hires we made is because going through the diligence, check, no, missing this position here, this needs to be filled, right? Because they don't want to, you know, put a boatload of money into something and then, you know, understand that there's no plug in the boat and the boat's going down. So, you know, it's been a good collaboration with some of these big opportunities, because, you know, a lot of them just look at it and it's not there, they move on. So it's because of the exceptional value of which we are bringing. And the way I always try to position is, you know, we don't sell our products, we sell partnership, right? Every group has deficiencies. We all understand that. But here, what's needed to gain your business and to gain the trust and as we move forward.
Safe to say, most of all the boxes that you think big partners would want checked are now checked.
Yeah, we've done everything, George, on our end humanly possible. You know, I'm as you said, I'm extremely confident. Let's just say that of where we're headed here in the next 6 months and next year. There's a lot, like I said, from day one. You know, I've never come out and said we're going to take over the world here in 90 days. I've always said this is not a stock, this isn't a trade, this is, you know, time, right? We've never been in a stronger position than we currently are today. You know, understandably, a bit of the short pressure we've seen and perhaps overhang from the finance and whatnot. The last, you know, I think it was 9 days we were down in a row. You know, that does not reflect the value or of the company, right? It's like Jeff Bezos said, the stock's not the company and vice versa. You know, so for me, I don't get panicked in these situations. Like I said, I've had a great deal of people that reach out, and, you know, most of them just want to understand the sun's going to come up tomorrow. And, you know, you explain them the fundamentals of the company. And like I said, if you invested, whether it's a $2 or 7 cents, company's never been in a stronger position today on all fronts. So I don't get worried by it. I just see it as opportunity.
And every tech company goes through that. I don't care. Every growth company, if you look at Tesla, Netflix, Apple, they've all gone through that. I remember back in 2012, Apple went up to $750 a share, and within 6 months is at $315 a share, and people were running around with their heads cut off, right? So it
was like Amazon. People forget Amazon went from $128 to $6 overnight, literally overnight, right? When the tech boom crashed. So it's timing, right? I mean, we're in the middle of a acquisition negotiation right now, and that was one of their questions. How come the stock price has gone down over the last 3 months? Well, stocks don't continually go up, right? It's we had a pretty big consolidation for quite some time at $1.60. Obviously, we all know what happens during finances, right? They get the number they need to fill their interest in the book, and you're left there to rebuild it up, which, I'm full confidence will be in a very timely fashion. But it's just that. It's, for me, the proudest moment is the team that I put together. For me, the next, I think, level will be announcing these commercialized deals, because it gives the investors the ability to understand now each and every revenue touch point of our contracts. SaaS is one piece, annual license is one piece. When people truly understand the size and scope and magnitude of this digital promotion with Coupon Bureau and others, this is where this goes to a whole new level. That's when
gonna be exciting. That's gonna be exciting. To see that breakout when you can give it to us.
That's everything I've done for 5 years is for that moment, right? And from there, that's where this goes to me to the moon, as they say, because not just from a share price, but the investors will truly understand what they have invested into here, and more importantly, what that means for next year.
Last question. When we did our last big corporate update at the end of 2020, and 2020 was a fantastic year, including NTT Data and TELUS that had been happening Q4 there. And we all were really excited about what was happening. You said that 2021 was going to surpass 2020 by a couple of magnitudes. Are you still feeling that way? And is it too early for you to think that 2022 might surpass 2021 by a couple of magnitudes also?
Well, not even close. I mean, it is not even close. Jordan, let's get real here. It's easy to tell a story. Well, not easy, but a lot of companies tell a great story. It's very, very hard to build something that's truly scalable. And for us, we had that luxury of the product. We had the luxury of the story and the interest of all these great partners and pilots and whatnot. But the team is everything. Without the team, there's no ability to execute on a story, on a product, or anything. Now that I have the team to do all of this, George, this is fun. I'm having fun again.
That's great.
I don't, of course.
Because you don't have 20 different hats anymore. You're not the one-man band. You have everyone in place to do what's got to be done.
Like I said, this is what's enabled me now to be working on 2022 already, right? Strategically, visionary-wise, I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't have the ability to execute it because I didn't have the team, right? This is my biggest excitement again, and why I'm having so much fun is now I'm already on to 2022, right? We're on to the next, as Bill Belichick says. So for this year, it's the realization of revenue and understanding of what, is to come for FOBI, and the value from the revenue and reporting aspect of the remaining 6 months. And it's the positioning. It's the positioning now of the biggest of the best, and where we're headed here for 2022.
Can't wait to see what happens next 6 weeks, 6 months. But most importantly, Rob, thanks for that corporate update, because I think a lot of people really appreciated that. And more importantly, thanks for coming on with us as always to really go beyond that press release and give people even more color and context. I think they're gonna love what you had to say. And let's not take 6 weeks to do the next one.
No, it won't be 6 weeks, George. We're back. Yeah.
I love it. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend. Thanks, George.
For those of you who've been watching or listened by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to Rob Anson, he's CEO of FOBI AI, trades on the TSX Venture Exchange on the stock symbol FOBI, and for our friends of the S on the stock symbol FOBIF. For those who are new to the story and you got due diligence, 2 ways to do it. One, get to the FOBI profile on the Gorcom, because we know there's a lot of technology and a lot of moving parts here. We give you a good 10,000 foot overview of the company. And then from there, link over to the FOBI website, do your deep dive due diligence because you've heard what Rob has had to say. And now you got to make your own decision. Just don't say 12 months from now, we didn't tell you so. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, the video's over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our YouTube channel so you never miss another great Agoracom small cap video.